You are listening to episode 51 of the Peaceful Mind Podcast. Welcome to the Peaceful Mind Podcast, a place for creating the peace of mind you need to be the best mom you were created by God to be. If you want to bring more balance, more joy, and more peace to your motherhood, this is the place for you. I'm your host, certified life coach and Catholic mom, Danielle Thienel. In the name of the Father, of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, let's get started. Hi there. Welcome back to any listeners who have joined me before, and also welcome to any new listeners who may have found the podcast and have started today. Today's podcast was actually inspired by you. Yes, I have several ways where people get in touch with me, right? Besides my current clients, I have a Facebook group, and then I also have I have a survey out there. Sometimes you get one of my free opt-ins. I have a couple guides out there to, help you in your mom life right now to find peace and especially overcome overwhelm, which is my specialty. I used to be that overwhelmed mom, and now I'm on the other side where I can generate peace no matter what the circumstance. But today's episode, as I mentioned, in some of the ways that you all communicate to me what's going on there, the title of today's episode was from directly of a mom telling me that her number one challenge in her life was steering her children in the right direction. Okay, so she felt that this was her challenge. And I want to talk to you all about that today, because some of the other kind of feedback that I get from you all of what your main struggle, your main challenge is in your life is some form of this, some form of wanting your children to be going in the right direction. So this also appears when you tell me that you want to try to get your older children to go to Mass, that you want to bring your two daughters back into the sheepfold. How about when I hear you want to help your children deal with anxieties and you don't know how you best should react, or keeping your kids involved in the church, having them not hate going to Mass. These were all directly words that were coming from you, from moms. And that is what I aim to do, to take moms, Catholic moms, Christian moms. I really just have this very special place in my heart for moms. Well, one, I am one, right? And then plus I'm a mom of faith. And so that is, a way to connect us. But I truly, all the messages that I have in the Peaceful Mind podcast, they can translate to anyone. I even have my best friend's husband told me not too long ago, he said, Danielle, I'm Protestant and I'm a man, and I really do get help from listening to your podcast. Yes, and the reason is because what I am trying to help you all with is just life. It's just humanness. It's this human life we are living, and we can help each other manage it until we get to the eternal life, right? So we're all human. We're living this human life, and all that I teach or coach or try and help you with, it has to do with anyone with a human brain, because the Peaceful Mind podcast, it's taking a look at your mind and the marvelous tool that it is and how it impacts your life, which it impacts it in every way you can imagine, because it is the tool that God gave us to create for ourselves in our life. So getting back to these challenges that you all are facing right now, and in particular, I wanted to talk about when you are feeling that you need to steer your children in the right direction. See how I said, not that you want to, but that you feel like you need to or you have to. but in truth, you really do want to. And that comes down to what your definition is about being a mom, right? So think about that. As a mom, you have a whole bunch of shoulds. Like a mom should steer their child in the right direction. And there's nothing wrong with wanting that, unless when your kids aren't doing what you define as the right direction, or when you're assigning meaning to what they're doing to be something that is a reflection of you. This will then bring us pain. This is what causes us to suffer. So that's what I want to take a look at today. Let's see if we might have a different perspective, a little mindset shift in regards to our role in having our kids go in the right direction. So I know that I named a few examples that had to do with going to Mass or being involved in the church, or when our children get older and maybe they don't decide to follow the same faith, and what kind of suffering that's causing for you. But besides the church, what else might moms be labeling as keeping our kids or wanting our kids to be going in the quote, I'm doing air quotes now, you can't see me, but right direction? How about good grades? They would be going in the right direction if they weren't doing drugs, or if they weren't drinking before becoming of age, if they weren't having sex before marriage, or all just being responsible, maybe like holding down a job. Are these some things that in your mind you have defined that your kids, if they were following this, that their life would then be going in the right direction? Well, let's just put a spin on this, and for you to take your mind into answering the question, what do you deem as being successful parenting? Do you deem it to be you are successful if your children are wanting to go to Mass, that they are, if they're older, that they stay involved, maybe they have to get good grades, or they would, you defined being a successful parent if your kids don't do drugs, they don't drink before age, they don't have sex before marriage, they hold down a good job, and they're super responsible. Is that how you deem that you would be a successful parent? Well, did you even know that the definition of successful parenting was up for grabs? It's up for discussion. It's up for deciding. Yes, that's right. You get to choose what success is for you as a mom. And when your kids are being steered in the right direction, or they follow the path of, quote, a right direction, where is that in how you define your success? And I suspect that it has to do with one of the coaching concepts and tools that we use called the manual, right? It's kind of this invisible instruction book that you yourself have come up with that has the rules and regulation of what your kids being in the right direction looks like, and how you are defining a successful parent when that all happens. And this manual per se, it's made up, right? Because there isn't one manual out there that you could buy and read that works across the board for all parents or all children or everyone to fit in what truly is that definition of success. And did you even know that you are carrying around this invisible manual? That what you think, all the rules and all the definitions that you hold of what it takes to be a good parent, or if you're truly steering your kids in the right direction, that it has to, like what you're making it all mean, that it has to do about you as a mom, and it's not truly about your kids. So what's outside of your control and what's in your control? We want to take a look at that, because when your kids don't make the choices that you would have them make or prefer for them to make, this feels out of your control, right? And that's really because it is. You want to feel like you're doing a good job. That's a basic desire of all of us moms. And defining for yourself what success is the first place to start. But I want you to know that you get to decide. You don't even have to go looking to other families, to other parents and what their kids are doing. It starts with what you define as a success and also what you define as the right path for you might not be the right path for your child. And I'm going to urge you to decide. Like maybe write it down, right? What am I currently thinking makes me a good mom? What am I currently thinking that defines my kids as being on the right path? And then kind of see where your role is in that and just decide. Does it mean that your children should be obedient, that they should make good life choices, that they want you in their life, that you would have them on the right path if they want to spend time with you? How about if they are happy, right? That would mean that you're steering them in the right direction if they're happy. If they're getting good grades, are you defining yourself as a good parent and defining that they are on the right path? How about if they are understanding all that you have taught them? I offer you that you might not want to go that route. And the reason is because they are not supposed to do all of those things. They aren't meant to be happy all the time. And, maybe they just don't want you to question them because maybe the direction you think they should go is not at all of what they feel like is the direction that they want to go. Or maybe it's just necessary for them to go down this path in order for them to, I don't know, maybe it'll cause them, because they're going down a different path, to come back to one that they wouldn't otherwise return to if they hadn't been given the chance to figure it out themselves. Sometimes your kids are going to choose to not get all A's. They will choose to step away from their faith. In fact, we could do our very best in all the areas that we think are important to have our kids in order for them to stay on the right path, and they still won't do it. And this is what I've done. I'll just give you a little example from our life. I have 3 children. I have twin girls and a son, and they're all teenagers right now. And all of them have gone to Catholic school. My girls not from the very beginning, but they started in the 5th grade, and they're going to be seniors in high school next year. And then my son, he has been in a Catholic school from pre-K, and he is now currently going to be going into high school too, right? So I remember, first of all, probably right before I even knew that I was going to have kids, I was praying to God, like when I wanted kids, and telling him that I would, raise them in the faith. And then I did, right? And then my husband and I chose to have them have a Catholic education. But, they don't always want to go to Mass now, especially when sometimes they're going to daily Mass at school and then they don't feel like it on Sundays. And, as my teenagers who are older and going off to college, some of the colleges that they're looking at, they're not Catholic. And they come to me with questions or, questions about the faith or doubt. And I always just say, I don't really know. How could I truly know what was right for them? I can only as a parent just take a guess and do the best I can to be loving and supportive and to, if they ask, tell them, what I think was helpful for myself. Or I definitely know that when I am regular with the sacraments, that I am showing them. That's how I want to show up as their mom. That's how I want to be an example for them. However, they get to take what I do or what they see from me, and they do decide for themselves, because there isn't anything that I could say to them that would have them like feeling or doing a certain action. It's because they have agency over their own life in order to think and feel and do on their own. Because here's the truth that I want you moms to come to move a little bit more closer to accepting, and so we'll have more peace about. And that is that your kids get to have agency over their own lives. They may choose to make poor choices, or they may go in a way that is 180 degrees from what you would have hoped for them. If having your kids be steered in the right direction is the goal, then why are your kids all different, right? You probably can see that if you have more than one child, that they end up with their own life looking vastly different. I even, why is that? Because I even have twins, and especially at their younger years, you can totally see that I parented them the same exact way, but they have been opposite in the majority of the way that they have, lived and are choosing for their paths right now. But what if what they want from us is really space or our trust, or even for us to just stay out of their business? Because again, I will reiterate that you have control of certain things and you don't have control of certain things. But what you do have control of is your behavior. And on the other hand, what you say and what you are doing, it doesn't make your kids act a certain way. Only their own thoughts and feelings about what you are saying and doing and your behavior affects them. So if we take a look at this through the aspect of the model, and if you are new to this podcast, the model is one of the major tools that I use in my coaching practice, and it is set up to bring awareness to our minds. I use it with my clients to show them how their mind and their thinking is the cause of all the results that they have. And just a side note, I just finished a few weeks ago a 5-part series teaching about the model, and you can look at that in the past episode library of the Peaceful Mind podcast. So the only thing we do have control over when it comes to steering our kids in the right direction is for us moms to go within and to look at our own lives and ask ourselves, are we striving to be the best version of ourselves? Are we taking ownership and responsibility for how we're showing up? Do we like it? Is it serving us? Is this the mom we want to be? And when you show up as maybe someone who tells your kids what you think they should do, or how that they should live their lives, or if you are saying to them and showing up in a way where you want to talk through that you don't believe that what they're doing is the following the right path or not, just own it. Own it that that's what you have control over. And whatever their answer is to it, whatever they want to think about it, however they feel about it, and then whatever they do with that conversation you have or how you're showing up, it's totally up to them. That's not in your control. So just keep the ownership of it. I want you to move again towards acceptance and peace. And this is the beautiful step, is owning that, owning your definition of a good mom, owning how you want to show up, owning the definition that you set of the right direction or not. Because how do you know, right? How do you know what your children are going through or what they decide to do with their lives in regards to everything, if it's the right direction or not, We don't know. It's their lives. As soon as I try to make my kids do something that I think is best for them, I become manipulative. And when in doing so, I give my power to the external things outside of me, which leads me to becoming scared and worried about my kids' lives. That's how I know, right? Because worry is totally unnecessary. And it's also a feeling that I am causing myself from my thoughts. But in turn, from worry and fear, I'm not then showing up how I want to. So what do you value? What are you teaching your children that you want to? I mean, success is teaching them, but not defining your success based on whether they learn it or not. They may embrace it and live it out, but maybe not. Maybe they might choose otherwise. And maybe in choosing otherwise, it really ends up being the right path for them. So to conclude, how do you steer your kids in the right direction? First, I want you to get solid on what your definition is of the right direction. And also at the same time, what the definition is for you of being a successful parent. And you can see that there will be some overlap there from what you are believing would makes you a successful parent has to do with whether your kids are going in the right direction. And then second of all, we have to know what's in our control and what's not in our control. And what's in your control is what you choose to think and in turn believe, which causes how you feel. And how you feel will always drive how you show up, the actions that you are presenting in your life, which will create results for you. And then what you are not in control of is when you show up in that way, what your children will then do. Because what they do, if you're seeing about what they are doing is, quote, in the right direction or not, is always caused by what they are thinking and feeling. So when you see what's in control and what is not in your control, this difference makes all of the difference in your mom life. That is what I have for you today. I will talk to you again next week. And if you found this episode beneficial or any previous episodes, I would love it if you could go to rate or review on the podcast app of your choice. Or you can visit me also at Danielle Tienel Coaching on Instagram and Facebook. All right, everyone. See you next week. Have a great one. Love you all. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Peaceful Mind Podcast. Are you ready to take everything I teach you here and put it to work for your own life? To really learn how to have peace of mind no matter what is happening around you? If so, I'd love to have you as a client. As your coach, this is where you'll get personal and focused time on your own mind using life coaching tools, concepts, and proven life-transforming wisdom, all through a faith-filled lens. To learn more about how we can work together, come on over to DanielleTienel.com. There, you'll see how to sign up for a free coaching consult and learn how to get started. Until next time, peace be with you always.